Hi everybody, welcome back. We want to talk to you about chickens. With eggs at $4.50 a dozen and a baby chick at $3, it's a good time for us to talk about keeping backyard chickens. This is not a video for homesteaders. It's for those people who've never kept chickens before, live on a small lot in a place that will allow you to keep chickens. There's no reason to be intimidated.
Yeah, and we've always kept chickens. So even when we lived in town, we kept them either in the garage or in our backyard, just depending upon your city's ordinances. So tune in and we'll show you what we're doing and what we got.
All right, this is one of the friendliest breeds of chicken. It's the Buff Orpington. So they're very docile. They love people. They're very sweet. These are the kinds of chicken. This chicken is probably one that you would want if you had kids. And they lay light brown eggs. So if you're looking for a chicken and you're just starting out, you want this chicken, a Buff Orpington. Now you can go online and purchase your chickens from hatcheries and they will mail them to you. You do not have to go to a Tractor Supply or go in person to buy your chickens. If you know which kind you want, you can just go to a hatchery website and purchase the chicken that you want. And I'm telling you, if you're just starting, you want Buff Orpington.
And that'll be coming up this spring when they start taking orders. So get your orders in advance.
They start in February. And then you'll need to brood them. And what that means is that you have to keep them warm. So they need to be right around 99 degrees, the baby chickens do, for about 6 weeks. And we always brood them in our garage here. We brood them in our house. You probably don't want to do that. We don't mind. But we use a big Rubbermaid tub. You have to put some sort of shavings down for their little chicken feet so they don't slip. And then a heat lamp clipped to the side. Just make sure it's not going to touch the rubber of your Rubbermaid tub or else it will melt. And then little chicken feeders, which you can also purchase on a hatchery website.
Yeah, and I recommend the large cedar or pine chips so that they don't eat them.
Yeah, otherwise they'll eat them. The other good thing about Buff Orpingtons is that they're a little bit bigger than other chickens, so they can't get as high up off the ground, and which is always something you want to worry about, especially if you want them outside. You don't want them flying up onto your 6-foot fence. This chicken cannot do that.
Yeah, and they have a egg laying span of about 6 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really hardy breed. You can't eat these for meat, but I wouldn't really recommend it. We just kind of do egg layers.
And this chicken will lay almost an egg a day. And we're getting about an egg a day out of her. So they're pretty great if you want eggs. So this chicken would lay about 7 eggs a week. You would get your money back on that $3 purchase pretty quickly.
Yep. Now we'll move on to the next chicken.
All right, so our next breed. This one is a lavender Americana. It's a little dark for a lavender Americana. That happens sometimes. You can tell it has really puffy cheeks right here. These are going to lay like robin's egg blue colored eggs. This breed is a little bit more flighty. That just means they're kind of nervous. I don't know that I'd suggest them for a first time chicken raiser. They're very hardy. They lay a lot of eggs. Their egg color is highly prized. That's something we'll talk about here after we show you our last breed of chicken that we have. But we got this one because this is what they use to make the next breed of chicken we're going to show you. They take an Americana of some sort. The lavender is supposed to be about the color of the feathers, which are supposed to be a silvery color, not the egg. So it's not going to lay lavender eggs. It's going to have like more of a lavender sheen to it. The Americanas come in black, lavender, and a couple of other colors. Of course, the black one lays blue eggs. It's a black chicken. So we will not get too much into that. I just didn't want you guys to think that the eggs were going to be lavender if the chicken's name is lavender. You ready to do the next one?
Yep.
Okay. All right, our last chicken breed, the Easter egger. The Easter egger is like the mutt of the chicken world. You're not really sure what its feathers are going to look like. All of its eggs are going to end up being like a greenish color somewhere on the spectrum. It's a blend between like a Buff Orpington and an Americana, a light brown egg layer and a blue egg layer. I like these chickens because they're incredibly hardy. They're very hard to kill. They're going to lay lots of eggs. But the downside is they're flighty. They're fast. This one is very lightweight, so this one can get up pretty high. This one could get up on top of our chicken coop. We had a Easter egger once that got out and decided to live on top of our porch. So
yeah, we never got them back here.
No, we could not control that chicken.
She flew around for about 2 years.
Yeah, laying eggs wherever she felt like it. So The Easter egg is probably not a good backyard chicken, and it's probably not for somebody who has just started with chickens. This is our sweetest Easter egger. She's hard to catch because she's so small and lightweight, but she absolutely will just turns into putty when you hold her. Um, so those are the 3 chicken breeds that we keep. What you should know is that when you go onto the website, many of them will list their chickens based on the color of egg that they lay. So you can get any color of egg that you want, basically the whole rainbow, including black. But remember, when they're talking about black, when they're listing a chicken, they're talking about the color of the feathers more than the color of the egg. Marans, Maran, they lay those dark brown eggs that people like with the little spots on them. The Americanas, they lay blue eggs. And speckled Sussex, which is another good beginning chicken, they lay light brown, as do the Buff Orpingtons. So that's kind of like a brief tutelage, I guess, tutorial on the different kinds of chicken breeds and which ones are best and worst in our experience for the backyard chicken.
Yeah, and the first time your chicken lays eggs, it's not going to have speckles on it. So speckles are determined by the age of the chicken. So a 2 to 3 year old chicken is going to start laying, darker colored speckles on its eggs.
And they're like really awesome. They're fun to look at.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we had the whole spectrum of chicken eggs. We had the dark brown, the light brown. We had the olive egger, which is an olive colored egg. We had the Easter eggers, and we had the Americana. That was a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun to have a rainbow color of eggs. This year, we went with mainly practical chickens for us, big time egg layers. So the Buff Orpington, the Easter egger, and the Americana. And the Americana and the Easter and the Buff Orpington, we could breed those to get Easter eggers if we wanted to sell them, because they're a big breed in this area because our weather is so harsh.
Yeah, and one of the great things that we've done, with our chickens is that with the egg prices being so high, we can get, between, and this is our area, but between $3 and $4 for a dozen of eggs. It costs about, for us, we have what, 17?
13 chickens.
13? 13 chickens. It costs us a bag of feed a week at $12. So $48, what we sell our eggs for, this is absolutely free for us. They pay for themselves.
Yeah, we get about 7 dozen eggs a week. We sell 3 to 4 dozen. That pays for the feed for the week, which is $12. Our neighbors are getting eggs cheaper than they can get them at the grocery store, and they're fresh. And it just is an overall win-win for everyone. And don't be intimidated. Again, you can build a coop to your liking. Ours is meant to contain the chickens most of the time because of the high predator rate in this area. You don't need a coop that's as big as and as expensive as ours is.
No, a chicken needs, to be humane, really a 2 foot by 2 foot cage. So, and like I said, this is great because we're controlling our own food source. So these are like non-GMO. They don't have any antibiotics in them.
No, never vaccinated.
Yep. So a very healthy option for us, and cheap.
Yes. And I will put the link to the hatchery that we use. It's within our area, so we can drive and pick up our chickens. There is a delivery fee to have them delivered to you. So I just use the hatchery closest to us. When it comes to the ducks, we did get our ducks. We got some of our ducks from the hatchery and some of our ducks from a neighbor, and we do brood our own duck eggs and breed our own ducks, so we don't have to go back to the hatchery again. Again, that's much more economical than going back to hatchery every time you need a chicken. But again, this chicken was $3.
Yeah, we don't do roosters. Annie's terrified of them because they're always coming at her, attacking her.
They do attack me.
Right. So if we want to breed our chickens and incubate our own eggs, we'll borrow a neighbor's rooster
for a little while
and
give it back.
Yeah, job's done. Plus, when you have a rooster, they'll fertilize the egg, and sometimes when you crack open an egg, it'll have either a little embryo in it or sometimes like a small, bit of cells that would, kind of make your scrambled eggs not quite as appealing or tasty.
Yeah, so we just don't mess with the rooster unless we're actually going to brood some of the eggs. We just don't keep one typically. Plus, you're feeding something, and they do guard your hens for you, but we have the livestock guardian dogs. I don't want to also feed a rooster that is aggressive and not going to do anything more for my hens than my dogs are going to do.
Yeah, they're good for waking you up in the morning.
Roosters, yeah, and that's another thing. You don't want to keep a rooster in town because they're very loud. You will get complaints. With the hens, they only make noise when they're laying an egg. That's it, for the most part.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the ducks that we have.
Okay.
and then show them the size difference between the eggs.
Okay.
And then I think we'll be good to go.
All right. That sounds good.
All right. Okay, so these are our Peking ducks. We have tried Indian runners, mallards, Harlequin, and this is hands down the best duck breed. They're more fun, they're hardier, and they lay much larger eggs.
They dance.
They dance, yeah, they like to party, they're fun. They do require, like, a little swimming pool or something like that for them to kind of clean off in.
Typically ours is clean water, but it's frozen to the ground and we can't empty it.
Yeah, these are they're a little haggard right now because they really clean up when they can get in the water, and it's been in the negatives, so we've been keeping them in a hoop coop so they can stay warm with a a heating lamp on them.
Because they'll do that even if it's 0 degrees. If the water is liquid, they will get in it, and then they get frostbite on their feet.
Yep, that or they'll get frozen into the pool.
Yeah.
They love water that much.
Yeah, they're not real bright.
So if you could show them the actual difference between the eggs.
Okay, I'll show them. I'll use a brown egg, so it's kind of the same color.
And duck eggs are great for baking.
Okay, this is a chicken egg. This is a duck egg. So I prefer the chicken egg if I'm going to just eat the egg fried or what, especially. I'll eat this one if it's scrambled, but it's really good for baking. It makes everything super moist and rich. I would much prefer this egg over this egg for baking.
Yeah, myself personally, I've learned that if I take 1 or 2 duck eggs and then mix it in with the chicken egg, you can't taste the difference as far as scrambled eggs. So.
And the other thing is that if you have a chicken egg allergy, sometimes you can tolerate the duck eggs. The issue with ducks in the backyard is they're very loud.
Yeah, and deviled duck eggs are far superior to regular chicken deviled eggs.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, and ducks require a water source, and if you don't provide it for them, you have to. It's absolutely inhumane not to. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to leave the hatchery that we use in the description below and do a little voiceover tutorial, maybe as a short later on.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, whether it's on the breed of chicken that we have, how we feed them, how we sell them, where we sell them, all of these types of things. Either reach us on email or comment below. So be smart, stay safe, and don't let the thorn thistles keep you down.